Good morning, everyone. Today we are picking up where we left off last class, and we're going to be looking at the 7 economic goals. We're also going to be looking at the characteristics of a free enterprise economy and the role of the entrepreneur, consumer, and government in a free enterprise economy. If you remember back to last class, we discussed the 3 types of economic systems. We discussed traditional economy, being based on customs and traditions, command economy where it's government dictated, and a market economy where the people decide what is bought and sold. The consumers and the producers decide what is bought and sold. Today, we're going to specifically be looking at our economic system, which is a mixed economy. Remember, I told you a mixed economy is where, yes, the consumers and producers do dictate what goes on in the economic system, but the government can interfere for the protection of the consumer and the worker. We're looking at our 7 goals that are specific to our economic system. Okay, and these are economic and social goals. So these are things we hope to accomplish. Now, if we hope to accomplish it, that means sometimes we do a very good job of accomplishing our goals, and sometimes we do not such a good job. And you'll see that through our discussion is that some we do better than others. These are things we hope to accomplish in our mixed or modified private enterprise economy. And that is specifically the name of our economic system, is modified private enterprise. Private enterprise meaning the citizens own the businesses, modified in the sense that the government can interfere for the protection of the consumer and worker. So these are very specific goals to our economic system. Our first and very most important goal, and if you look, you'll see why, is economic freedom. The freedom to do what? Choose. Freedom to choose. Guys, how many times have we talked about choices in our discussions? We continually talk about choices, and I discussed choices at the very beginning of our class because of how important it is in our economic system, the freedom to choose. You being able to own your own business if you want to, go purchase the goods and services that you would like to purchase, determine what you want to do with your money. All of that falls under economic freedom. Just doing and making your own economic decisions. The government doesn't do it for you. Remember, that is a command economy. Traditions, habits don't dictate that to you. That's a traditional economy. In our economic system, the modified private enterprise or mixed economy, we get to choose what we want to do with our money, where we want to work, if we can be hired, and overall making our own decisions. Nobody is doing that for us. So if we fail on our own behalf. If we succeed, then we succeed on our own behalf. Okay, it is us doing it. Economic efficiency. Efficiency. Well, what does it mean if something is efficient? It means you're doing it in a productive manner, right? So look at the definition. It says economic efficiency means that resources are used wisely. How many times have we talked about not wasting the scarce resources that we have? We want to use our resources wisely and to the best of our ability. And we can do that by looking at things like the production possibilities frontier or the decision-making grid. Looking at our trade-offs, our opportunity cost from last chapter. Okay, all of that leads to using our resources efficiently, and if we do so, then we will achieve the goal of economic efficiency. Our next goal, guys, is economic equity. Well, equity is another word for equality. economic equality or equity is the social goal that explains why so many people support laws against wage and job discrimination. No matter what race, sex, religion, ethnicity, everybody should be treated fairly. Now, some would say that we still do not do a very good job of economic equity. Despite how old our country is, guys, we are still a work in progress. There are always things we can improve upon, always ways that we can strive to better achieve the goal of economic equity. But we have programs in place to help support that goal. Okay? And that is where economic security comes in. Economic security is a goal where we help take care of those that cannot take care of themselves. Making sure everybody has the ability to have their basic needs met. Now, not all the wants. Government is not concerned about your wants. We are specifically concerned about the needs of the people. And that is why we have programs like Social Security, taking care of the elderly. We have Medicaid, Medicare, the welfare program, Section 8 housing, unemployment compensation, taking care of those who cannot take care of themselves for one reason or another. That is another goal that we hope to achieve in our country. And as a whole, we do a okay job at meeting the goal of economic security. Our fifth goal is full employment. Full employment. Everybody who wants a job can find a job. We are not talking about everybody has a job, because there are some people you can hand them a job and they still would not work it. It is everybody who wants a job can have a job. And in the United States, if we have 4% unemployment, we consider that full rate of employment. And we'll talk more about unemployment in a different chapter. Then price stability, freedom from inflation. Well, what is inflation? It is a rise in prices. We want to keep prices as stable as possible, because if we see a huge increase in the price of goods, it means people can't buy as much. They're less likely to be able to take care of themselves if they are raising the prices consistently. Hey, if it's a little bit to cover cost, that's different. But we're talking about, think about right now in the middle of a pandemic. Okay, this is what we're talking about. You know, Lysol spray, Lysol wipes, Clorox wipes, any general cleaning product that would kill COVID is going to be very short supply right now. It's hard to find, right? So what we see is people bumping up the price of that product to make a huge profit off of it. Okay, or buying it to resell it. That is inflation. Okay, increasing the price of a product to make more profit even when it is not necessary. It says that price stability is important to anyone trying to provide basic necessities on a limited income. Think about teacher salary. Okay, I am a salaried employee. Means I make the same amount every month, no matter how much I work. Somebody on Social Security, they only make a certain amount every month, no matter what. If the prices keep going up and up and up, they are less likely to be able to buy the things that they need with the money they have. That's why it's extremely important to keep those prices as stable as possible. And our seventh economic goal, which we have talked about already, is economic growth. Economic growth. Generally making more goods and services next year than we did this year. And we talked about how we can do that by using the resources, the scarce resources that we have in the most effective way possible through division of labor, specialization. Looking at the production possibilities, frontier, or grid, and seeing what combination of goods is going to be right for the resources that we have. All 7 of these goals are specific to our economic system. Well, let's look at some other elements of our economic system. Okay, in section 3, we are looking at the role of the entrepreneur, the consumer, and the government in a free enterprise economy. Okay, we're also looking at the specific characteristics of a free market economy. So let's look at those terms. All right, so we're looking at our specific economic system, which is called capitalism. Capitalism. You've probably heard that term before. Capitalism is what we call our specific type of economic system. I told you that we have a modified private enterprise. Here's why. It says citizens own the factors of production. We dictate, right? We, the business owners, dictate what we get to do with the resources that we have. How we're going to use them in a way to make a product so we can make a profit. Okay, and then our next key term here, in order to understand fully what type of economic system we have, is a free enterprise economy. I told you that in the United States, we value our freedoms. Freedom to choose, right? We want other businesses in our economy. Why? Because the more competition that we have, the better off the goods and the prices will be. It says in a free enterprise economy, which is our U.S. economy, specifically, competition is allowed to flourish with minimum government interference. We want more businesses that sell the same type of product. Target, Walmart, what used to was Kmart, and all your general stores where you can go and buy a variety of products. Not just a clothing store or a hardware store, but they sell a variety of goods. We want those particular competitors to be there because the more competition, the better the prices and the better the product. They're constantly competing against each other to attract us as the consumers. They want our business, so they're going to do things that will attract us to buy from them instead of one of their competitors. Okay, so the more competition, the better off we actually are because we can get the products we want at a cheaper price. So we have a capitalistic society where the private citizens own the factors of production, and we're going to use the factors of production in our business and hopefully against some competitors to be able to attract the consumer. So what are some characteristics of free enterprise and capitalism? Economic freedom, we talked about that. Freedom to choose where you want to work, how you're going to spend your money. Businesses get to determine what they want to sell, how they want to sell it, what they want to charge. General economic freedom for the consumer and the producer. Then we have private property rights. Owning your own stuff is one of the 5 characteristics of capitalism. You can't do that in some countries. Remember our command economies where the government will allow you to, where the government controls and owns everything. Then we have voluntary exchange. Voluntary means what? Of our own free will. Consumers and sellers freely and willingly engaging in market transactions. So we get to determine where we want to shop, and they get to determine how they want to sell their products. Then we have profit motive. Profit motive is the desire to make what? Profit is money. Isn't that why you go to work? Isn't that why you go to work? The general desire to make money. I go to work to make money. I like y'all, but like I told you, I don't work for free. Okay? Just like we don't work for free, they're not going to sell their goods at a cost that would not allow them to make a profit. Okay? We know everything has a cost. we determined that last chapter. Because of scarcity, everything has to have a cost. And so we are going to set the cost of our products just a little bit higher so we can make a profit. And if you're the business owner, that is your whole goal, is to make money. My whole desire to come to work is to make money to be able to supply for my family. And then competition, and we just talked about competition. Okay, lower prices, better product to attract consumers, all in a desire to attract consumers. So our 5 characteristics, guys, are economic freedom, getting to choose, owning our own stuff, being able to shop where we want to shop, working to make money, and then competing for better prices. All of those are 5 characteristics of a free enterprise economy. Well, what role does each of the consumer, entrepreneur, and government play? Okay, so let's look at the entrepreneur first. The entrepreneur is going to use the other 3 factors of production to make a profit. Okay, remember our factors of production were land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur is going to bring the other 3 factors of production together to make a profit. When they do that, everybody benefits. When they're successful, everybody benefits. We get what we want, which is good product, at a cheaper price. They get what they want, which is our money, and us as their consumers. And then they are going to look and they're going to find ways to make new products. They're going to okay, sorry guys, I had air conditioner guy came to my door. Like I was saying, the entrepreneur is going to search for ways to make his product better. Either his product better, high quality product, maybe it's new product to attract us, the consumer. They are going to find ways to make sure that they are competitive with the other businesses that sell the same type of product as they are. If they do that, if they're successful at that, they're going to attract us, the consumer, to buy their product. Hey, well, what is the role of us, the consumer? We are the rulers of the market. It's called consumer sovereignty. Well, why is it that we rule the market? Remember, sovereign means ruler. A king is sovereign. A queen is sovereign, like the Queen of England. That means they rule, right? So why is it that we, the consumers, rule the market? Because every time that we go to the store, we are telling them that we want them to make that product because we buy it. Okay, it's called dollar of votes. Consumers in the American economy express their wants in the form of purchases. We go to the store and purchase something that lets them know that we want them to create that particular product. The dollar they spend acts as a vote for that particular product. That is telling them that we want them to continue to make the product. Every time we purchase it, that is an indicator to them that we want that particular product. Well, what is the role of the government? And y'all, the government has a lot of roles. The government as protector. Well, what are they protecting? I told you they were protecting. The only time the government can interfere is for what? The protection of the consumer and the worker. This is their job as the government as protector. Okay, things like workers' compensation laws. So if you're hurt on the job, they have to pay you. Equal pay for equal work. Okay, those are the types of laws. Even things, guys, like food and drug laws. Okay, where food can only be kept have to be kept at a certain amount of time for so long. Those are the types of things that the government puts in place to protect the consumer and worker. It is never, ever to tell us what we have to do in our businesses. It's strictly to protect the consumer and the worker. Then the government as provider and consumer. We don't think of the government as a consumer, but what are they buying? Guys, everything that they need to be able to run the government. Pencils, papers, desk, the tanks for the military, everything the military needs to operate, everything a particular business would need to operate. Toilet paper, soap. We don't think about it, but they have to purchase, the government has to purchase those stuff just like us, the individual. And who's the first largest consuming group? Says the government is the second largest consuming group. Who's the first one? We are. We, the individual citizens, make up the largest consuming group. What about the government as provider? What do they provide? You are sitting in one of the services, you were sitting where you are because of one of the services is being provided. And education. Education is paid for by the federal government, by the state government, and it is one of the things that they provide. Then they're also going to provide things like protection through our military, our state troopers. But not only that, services like welfare, food stamps, Section 8 housing, all of our welfare programs, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. Those are things that the government has to provide. Government as regulator. The government's job is to make sure that competition is good. We have monopoly laws in place, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but we have laws put in place to keep us, or rather keep businesses from becoming too powerful. It's happened in U.S. government before, where one business really owned a specific industry. We have laws put in place now to keep that from happening, because more competition, the better the what? Prices and product. Competition is a good thing, and they want to make sure that that stays around. And then our last goal, our last role of the government is the government as promoter of national goals. I told you that we have 7 goals that we hope to accomplish. We have 7, and their job is to help promote and achieve the national goals. Things that we hope to accomplish in our economy. It says in the United States, if we achieve economic equity and security, we have a mixed or modified private enterprise economy. And we've talked about that before. Okay, guys, that wraps up Chapter 3. You will have your chapter test waiting for you in the assignments folder. And I will see you next class.